With the news that California's Great America is set to close in about 11 years due to the land being sold by Cedar Fair, speculations have been spiraling as to where some of the major attractions could be moved if the chain decides to relocate them. So let's dive into the coasters and where I think they could be moved to. So some of these rides are very likely to be scrapped, but I also want to try to find their most likely spot for them, even if the trash is more likely. So let's start with the oldest to the newest. Let's go with Demon, the 1976 Arrow Looper that opened with the park as their signature attraction. Now this is a pretty basic foreign version looper with some fun theming, but more than likely this is going to be scrapped. I wouldn't doubt it actually closing before the park does, as Cedar Fair has been cleaning out these old arrows from the chain. Now if by some miracle they decide to move it, let's throw it to Worlds of Fun. The park lacks a traditional looper, so maybe they can enjoy it for a couple of years. Next up is the 1986 Woody Grizzly. Another ride that's left open but isn't really a great ride. Difficulty of relocating this ride is that it's a wooden coaster and that wooden structure is hard and expensive to move. And like Demon, it would more than likely be scrapped. Now if it was staying put for a while, RMC could have a lot of fun, but relocated as is, again, I think it's unlikely. I think maybe we send it over to Dorney Park, give them a second Woody, one that's a bit more modern than Thunderhawk, and the chain can continue to ignore them for another decade. Now, Woodstock Express is the park's family coaster opening in 1987, and it's definitely bound for the trash pile, but the hell of it, package it with Grizzly, add some extra family fun at Dorney Park. Then we have Patriot, the converted B&M stand-up from 1991. Now this is small, short, and it lacks the big thrills of the newer B&M floorless coasters, and it would be obsolete in most Cedar Fair parks. That being said, I think this is the first ride that could possibly survive, but it'll be close to the end of its service life. If it stays in the chain, Michigan's Adventure could use anything, so they would probably gladly accept even a bad B&M, but it could also easily be sold off to some independent park, especially outside the country. Then we have another B&M Flight Deck that opened in 1993. Now this is the second ever inverted coaster. It has 3 inversions and a shorter track length overall. This is going to be moved to King's Dominion, one of the more high profile moves yet. The park lacks the invert since Volcano's closure, and maybe they can squeeze this unique layout over the lake to replace Anaconda with a much better ride, even if once again the short lifespan could come into play there. Then we have Lucy's Krabby Cabbies. It's getting moved to a fun center in a random mall in Pennsylvania. It's just a gut feeling. I have no idea where, but it's a kiddie coaster. Then we have Psycho Mouse, which is an arrowed wild mouse model from 2001. A thrilling family coaster, can do well, but it deals with a low capacity issue. While not ideal, I think this could get shipped to a staple park in Kings Island and help alleviate some of the lines of the kid coasters, maybe squeeze it in somewhere near Adventure Express and Flight of Fear. Finally, we have the pair of headliners of the park. First is the GCI Goldstriker, opening in 2013. Now this is a massive coaster, and the wooden structure would make it incredibly difficult and expensive to move, but it's still fairly new, and it wouldn't surprise me if the chain tried to save it. Now the park that is always willing to spend money is the crown jewel Cedar Point, and what if they brought this in to replace something like Gemini that might be on its last legs in about 10 years? Now the plots aren't perfect fits, Gemini being a little longer, Goldstriker being a little wider, but I'm sure the engineers can make it fit, and if the track age becomes an issue, you can always bring in GCI to tighten track it or just retrack the ride as is. And it gives the park one of its true missing pieces, which is a modern wooden roller coaster. Then we have Railblazer, the prototype RMC Raptor that has been thrilling guests since 2018. This is a small, low-capacity coaster that could fit just about anywhere in the chain in almost any park, and I think Valley Fair is a great fit here. It's another small park that hasn't seen much in recent years, and this is a unique and valuable ride to a park like this. There have been some rumors that Railblazer track has been seeing some issues, needing welding, being a little worse for wear, but I doubt the newest and possibly best ride in the park gets just thrown away. It would be a cheap and effective move for one of the chain's original properties. So that's going to be all from CGA. I'm pretty sure that there's plenty of flat rides that would also be moved along with other things, but these are just my takes on the coasters and what would be moved if they're not scrapped. I think a lot of these are going to end up getting scrapped. But let me know what you think below, and unfortunately no video next week as I'll be in Georgia, going to Six Flags Over Georgia, so look for that content soon after. Till then, that's all from the shores of Island Coasters.